Welcome. It's Thursday, March 30th, 2023. It's been a busy news day in Cameroon, notably with the March cabinet meeting taking place at the Star Building here in Yaoundé. And that crisis meeting involving football coaches organized in Yaoundé with the president of FECAFOOT in order to reverse the poor results that the national football teams have been recording lately. But first, let's take you to the northern city of Garwa, where the mayor of Garwa, Dr. Usmaila Muhammadu, died yesterday, and he has been buried today. Our reporter Tanjong Levis has been following up this story for us. Good evening, Tanjong. How are you today?
Good evening, Fonka. Thank you very much for having me. I'm doing very fine. Thank you.
Well, we imagine the last 24 hours have been particularly sad for the people of the North region, notably for the people of Garwa. What were some of the highlights of the funeral rite that we witnessed today? We know they are generally sober in that part of the country.
Actually, Fonka, thank you very much for having me once again in the program, and welcome to the North Regional Capital, Garwa. The late mayor of the city of Garwa, Dr. Usmaila Muhammadu, has been laid to rest in his native Nasarawa village in Garwa 2 subdivision at about 10 a.m. today. So it is worth noting that the mayor died yesterday, Wednesday, 29th March, in Yaoundé while preparing to travel to Belgium for work purposes. Close family sources say he had malaise yesterday morning, and unfortunately he couldn't make it. So arrangements were made immediately, and the corpse was brought that same yesterday to the Garwa International Airport. It arrived at about 5:30 p.m. in the presence of North Governor Jean Abadi Edi, the President of the North Regional Council, Umaru Usmanu, and Minister Gabriel Barobe, who actually came with the corpse from Yaoundé. He is an elite of the North region. So he was buried today. Tributes have been pouring in from civil, municipal, and religious authorities, as well as his loved ones here in the city of Garwa.
How is the city reacting to this loss? Are people talking about it in street corners, in various marketplaces, in groups? Are they surprised? Are they hurt?
Exactly. I must tell you, the population received the news with shock, especially as the lead mayor actively attended a meeting just last week here in the city of Garwa. So the news that morning, that yesterday, Wednesday, came as a shock to the population, business people, youth in particular, because he has been a force of ensuring youth employment in this part of the country, especially in Garwa, since he is a son of Garwa, that's Nasarawa in Garwa 2 subdivision. So his colleagues, collaborators at the Garwa City Council, municipal, religious, and other civil administrators are touched with the news of the demise of Dr. Usmaila Muhammadu. So the town has been unusually calm. The Ramadan fasting is ongoing, and the sad news was a bitter pill to swallow. So everyone here, business people, especially in the Garwa market, the Garwa Central Market, they call it Grand Marché, where Dr. Usmaila Muhammadu has developed that area, the entrance, around the market, street lights around the market, some developments in the market, ensure each and everyone has a shade. So, the business people here have been touched. They think someone who was there to help them in their businesses is gone. So, it's a shock to most of them.
What do you feel will be his lasting legacy? What will the city of Garwa remember Mr. Usmaila Muhammadu for?
Yes, the lead mayor has been a force, like I said, of local development since 1994 as a veterinary doctor first, because he's a veterinary doctor by profession who studied in Senegal and came back to the country about 30 years ago. He worked with the Sodikotong for several years, and he joined the Ministry of Livestock, Fisheries and Animal Industries. And joined the National Community Driven Development Program, the PNDP. So during the funeral rites, late Dr. Osmaila Muhammadu was described as a dynamic local authority who ensured development in various communities, the construction of basic social infrastructure in Garwa. So he has been remembered for that in his relentless efforts in ensuring development. He ensured the beautification of Garwa, especially in the wake of the AFCON 2021 competition. So he will be remembered for his zeal to ensure development in the north, for always working towards projects that are geared towards the employment of youths. Tonka, he has been mayor just for 3 years, so his death has no doubt left a vacuum in the hearts of his loved ones.
Thank you very much, Tanjong Levis Agbo. The people of Garwa would certainly have a hard time swallowing this bitter pill, but we do hope that they find the strength to move on and push on with their daily lives. It's worth noting that mayors are key players in development activities as the decentralization drive goes forward. Thank you, and do have a pleasant evening.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, I will be introducing our first guest to you. We will be talking about maternal mortality and efforts to reverse that.
À la recherche du temps perdu, experts et témoins du passé revisitent l'histoire du Cameroun. L'avenir est une porte, le passé en est la clé. À la recherche du temps perdu, une émission présentée par Françoise Coquichouès.
Que diriez-vous de commencer votre week-end par un petit arrêt devant le miroir, reflet de notre société telle qu'elle va? Je vous convie désormais à de petits échanges autour de petites réflexions sous la forme d'une chronique hebdomadaire sur CRTV News le jeudi, sur CRTV le jeudi à 9h55, le vendredi à 15h55, le samedi à 18h55. Restez avec moi et merci d'avance pour votre fidélité.
L'alimentation anti-cancer joue un rôle dans la protection du cancer en aidant l'organisme à limiter la croissance des cellules cancéreuses. Émilie, bonsoir et merci d'accepter une fois encore l'invitation de Diète.
Cette plante aromatique est sollicitée pour ses vertus médicinales et pour sa condition d'épice. Le superaliment contient des minéraux tels que le calcium, le fer, le soufre, la chlorophylle et le bêta-carotène.
Voici quelques astuces, n'hésitez pas à les faire.
En dehors de sa teneur en eau, est-ce que le concombre contient d'autres nutriments essentiels?
Oui, le concombre contient des fibres insolubles, notamment la cellulose, du potassium.
3000 cancers du sein en plus. Pourquoi? C'est tous ces engrais chimiques, c'est toute cette alimentation qu'il faut refaire en fait. Nous mangeons pas du tout bien.
À très bientôt sur nos antennes pour une nouvelle édition de Diète.
À la recherche du temps perdu, experts et témoins du passé revisitent l'histoire du Cameroun. L'avenir est une porte, le passé en est la clé. À la recherche du temps perdu, une émission présentée par Françoise Coquichouès.
diriez-vous de commencer votre week-end par un petit arrêt devant le miroir, reflet de notre société telle qu'elle va? Je vous convie désormais à de petits échanges autour de petites réflexions sous la forme d'une chronique hebdomadaire sur CRTV News le jeudi, sur CRTV le jeudi à 9h55, le vendredi à 15h55, le samedi à 18h55. Restez avec moi et merci d'avance pour votre fidélité.
L'alimentation anti-cancer joue un rôle dans la protection du cancer.
S'engage à vous servir l'info qu'il vous faut, toute l'info. Et ça fait 5 ans que ça dure.
Ça fait 157 680 000 secondes.
Ça fait 2 620 000 et 600 minutes.
Je dirais que ça fait 1825 jours.
Ou encore 60 mois.
Vous l'avez compris, ça fait 5 ans.
Vous l'avez compris?
Déjà? Le temps file, hein? Déjà?
Chaque jour, nous tissons la toile en temps réel avec vous et pour vous.
Welcome back. You're watching Twilight on CRTV News. We are broadcasting live from Studio 4 Production Center here at Mbala 2. It's a daily news analysis show every day in an hour and a half. We single out stories that we feel are worth your attention, and we discuss them with our newsmakers or with the specialists. We took you earlier to the North region where the mayor of the city of Garwa passed yesterday and was laid to rest today. And we had some updates on the man and his legacy from our reporter Tanjong Levis. We will be looking a little bit at the issue of maternal mortality in Cameroon. Some estimates say by 2017, 529 deaths per 1,000 live births occurred in Cameroon. The maternal mortality ratio is believing to be falling gradually from 771 deaths per 1,000 live births in 2003 to 529 deaths per 1,000 live births in 2017. So there is progress being made, but it remains a sector that continues to preoccupy health professionals. And that is why we are welcoming Dr. Ngo Valerie Ngo. He's a senior health researcher at the Nkafu Policy Institute of the Dennis and Lenora Ferretia Foundation, based here in Yaoundé. Good evening, Doc, and welcome.
Thank you.
I understand you guys have running a project that is called Bonfine. Literally speaking in Pidgin, safe delivery if you care, and it operates as a mobile app which connects pregnant women to doctors, and these women are being followed up from pregnancy to childbirth. And the project is currently taking place in the center region, in the towns of Akonolinga and Ayos, and in the southwest region in the towns of Tiko and Bangem. Doc will be walking us through this project in a moment, but first tell me, how bad is maternal mortality in Cameroon? For people who live in cities, they sometimes take it for granted that when people are pregnant, we tend to call it even in Pidgin fine sick. You know, that it is something that is good news and that normally goes through safely and happily. But for some people, it ends up in tragedy.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity you've given me to share my view on maternal mortality in Cameroon. Like you rightly said, from 2017 data, about 529 women are likely to die as a result of maternal mortality. That is, out of every 100,000 live births, 529 of those pregnant women are likely going to die based on the World Health statistics. So it is a worrisome issue because if you look at it, if you look at what applies even to some countries in Africa, if you look at Egypt, which is just a country in the north of Africa, you realize that just about 37 pregnant women are likely going to die out of 100,000 live births. So you can see the difference between 529 women dying and then 37 women dying. So it's quite a very big problem.
And we're still on the African continent, even if some would argue that the living standards in Northern Africa is relatively better than in Sub-Saharan Africa.
No, but when you go closer to a country that is our part of Central Africa, like Gabon, their own maternal mortality ratio is as low as 200, while we are almost getting triple to their value. So that shows that there is a problem. Yeah, there's a problem of maternal mortality in Cameroon. But the ministry has been making some effort. That was quite higher than that before, but it's gradually dropping down.
The figure is coming down. How bad is this in rural areas?
Yeah.
If we had to compare between a city like Yaoundé, for example, and a locality like, let's say, Bafut, how bad is the situation?
I think if you look at what what is available in the local area, you realize that the situation should be actually worse in the rural area, because access to healthcare facility, access to healthcare personnel, and actually access to those who are actually very, very equitable in knowledge to handle that is there. Then many other local factors like transportation to hospitals, bad road, and including electricity, and many other issues can actually make the situation worse in the rural area compared to urban areas.
What, in your opinion, causes maternal mortality deaths?
Yeah, I mean, maternal mortality is one of those things that has actually been, a lot of research has been done, and it is what we call the 3D model, the 3 delay models. The 3 delay models, which some people call it 3D, actually refers to a situation whereby the first D is because there is that delay in the women themselves, or let me say household, or the family taking a decision for the woman to go to the hospital, a pregnant woman to go to the hospital.
This is for prenatal consultations?
Yeah, no, I mean, probably
during delivery.
There could be an emergency. It could be during the pregnancy itself, or maybe before delivery. There is this delay in taking a decision whether the woman should deliver in the hospital.
Is that delay not linked to money?
It could be.
Is it just that people don't trust hospitals, or is it that they are worrying about the cost of it all?
Actually, that is actually a factor, but there are so many other factors.
I know there are many other factors. Let me look at it this way. Imagine a family, they're telling themselves, okay, pregnancy usually has lots of pain, and that this time around, this pain may not be the pain we're waiting for. So maybe we could just wait a little bit more till it is something more serious. Is there that tendency to banalize the pain that the woman is feeling?
You say, most of the people, biblically, people will tell you that the issue of pain related to pregnancy was actually quoted in the Bible. So I don't really see it to be a major issue, because whether you have any pain in the hospital and you having pain at home, delivering at home, with pain and delivering in the hospital with pain, there's still no difference. Okay. So I expect the women to rather prefer to go and deliver in the hospital if they were thinking of how to alleviate their pain. But considering that whether you deliver at home or you deliver in the hospital, you can't have any other means to stop your pain. So I think, just like you said before, it has to do with probably finances, because we don't have any form of health insurance that covers Cameroonians. So finance could be an issue, but that's just one of the delays. There is another delay that has to do with delay in transporting the woman to the hospital. It could be due to bad road or many other factors. Maybe the cars are not really available. Then there is the last
or there might be need for an ambulance, and there's no
for sure, and it's not even available. So there is the third D, which is the delay in the hospital itself taking the decision. Probably a woman get to the hospital and then there's no doctor on ground. So, maybe the woman get to the hospital, the person who is supposed to be there, either maybe the midwife, might not be there at that time. And that actually is based on this, that the Bonfire app is actually leveraging on these 3Ds, addressing the 3Ds. The first is that of you taking the decision to go to the hospital. The second is the decision, the delay you encounter on the road. And then the third one is the delay you have in the hospital. And Bonfire, which you rightly said, is actually from the pidgin word, deliver well. It addresses the 3 delays. Maybe when we get closer to what Bonfire actually does, I'll be able to explain that, how Bonfire has been able to probably address these 3Ds, and then
let's take a short breather, and when we come back we will talk about the solution that the Dennis and Lauretia Foundation is proposing to this problem of maternal mortality in Cameroon.
Une équipe dévouée, jeune, dynamique, au taquet tous les jours, CRTV News s'engage à vous servir l'info qu'il vous faut, toute l'info. Et ça fait 5 ans que ça dure.
Ça fait 157 680 000 secondes.
Ça fait 2 620 000 et 600 minutes.
Je dirais que ça fait 1825 jours.
Ou encore 60 mois.
Vous l'avez compris, ça fait 5 ans.
Vous l'avez compris?
Déjà? Le temps file, hein?
Déjà?
Chaque jour, nous tissons la toile en temps réel avec vous et pour vous.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching Twilight on TRTV News, and I'm in the company of Dr. Ngo Valerie Ngo, who is a senior health researcher at the Nkafu Policy Institute of the Dennis and Lauretia Foundation here in Yaoundé. What then do you feel can help bridge the gap between women who are in dire need and have encountered one of the delays you've mentioned? What can help them bridge that gap and what can help them save lives? What are you guys proposing?
All right. What we've actually brought, which is currently what we're actually conducting in Cameroon as a project, is the Born Fine Digital Health Program. Now, when you look at the 3Ds model, the delay model, which I talk about, what Born Fine actually does is that it is a digital health application. We call it two-way because it enables the pregnant woman to communicate with the healthcare provider, and then the healthcare provider also be able to communicate with the pregnant woman. So, doctor and the pregnant woman communicate directly 24 hours on 7, I mean 24/7. So what Bonfine does is that all pregnant women within health facilities where we are actually doing the study presently in Tiku, Bangem, Ayos, Akonolinga, we connect them through their Android phone. So you get registered for your antenatal care, and then from your health facility, we install the Bonfine app, which connects directly to your healthcare provider, and it has 6 features. That's actually the most interesting thing about Bonfine. It's a kind of remote supervision of pregnant women by the healthcare provider. So when a woman is actually installed into the Bonfine app, she has ability to listen to family planning messages. She can actually press a signal from her phone if she's in any distress like emergency. She can actually press a signal from her phone if she needs medical advice. So each time she presses a signal, the signal goes directly to the healthcare provider in the various facilities where Bonfine is taking place. And then the healthcare provider is expected within 1 or 2 minutes to call the pregnant woman, discuss with the woman on phone, and then if there is any issue that could be handled online, they can actually handle it. But if it requires the woman to come to the hospital immediately, Bonfine has actually helped to address the delay, this delay of transportation going to the hospital. So what Bonfine does is that if there is an emergency situation, we provide the transport means for the woman to be taken from wherever she is to the hospital. And how do we do that? But you can't
solve the problem of the road.
Yeah, I mean, that is a government issue. So what we do is basically we have transporters that are actually linked. We've actually trained bike riders, taxi men, other private drivers. As soon as a signal comes from a particular health facility, the healthcare provider assesses the situation. If it is an emergency, he activates the transport system. Whosoever that has actually been assigned to that will automatically use GPS location, GPS information to trace wherever the woman is sending the signal, and then is able to take the woman to the hospital for emergency services. So that it look at least to some extent it reduces that delay of transportation. And then the third one is by the time the woman gets to the hospital, because there is already a prior communication. So the facilities, the healthcare providers are already waiting. They know there is a woman that is in emergency distress and the woman is coming. Yes, so everything is prepared. So the 3Ds, which are actually the major causes of maternal mortality, are actually addressed using the Bonfire app. So by registering them through the Bonfire app, we are already giving them that consciousness that antenatal care, you need to register antenatal care on time and you need to be followed up regularly. And we regularly send them text messages every month. And then a part of that, we attach them to community health workers within their community who check on them at least once or twice per month. So we feel Bonfire has actually addressed that delay of taking a decision for your antenatal care services. It also addresses the decision for you to travel to the hospital, and then it also prepares the health facility so that when you come, you won't be a surprise to them. So everything is actually put in place.
I have been observing the digital space for a while now, and I've realized that there is a tendency for lots of Cameroonian developers to develop apps that are useful for medical practitioners. How did you get about this particular app, and how different is it from the other ones that exist? I'm thinking of Gifted Mom, for example, which is, in my opinion, pretty similar. Maybe Waspito is a little bit open. It is not as targeted as this one is, but there seems to be more than one app that targets pregnant women. What does Bonfire do differently from those other ones?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise that if you look at most of these apps targeting pregnant women, it's because you see, pregnancy is, maternal mortality is one of those indices that is actually used to assess the strength of a healthcare system. So if you look at the Bonfire, Gifted Mom, and what you call it, they may look similar, but what particularly Bonfire has that look a little bit more special to what this other app has is that we have this transporter system. Where we provide you emergency assistance. We link our transporters to GPS. We train them. We train community health workers. We train healthcare providers. It's just not an app, and it's a free app. I mean, it's
more of a project.
Yes, and it's going to be free. We actually working with the Ministry of Public Health. It's not going to be. People don't need to buy it. You don't need to. It's going to be facilities will use it, and then we provide other services. The app also has the ability for you to have your voucher system. You can actually keep in your voucher, amount of money, which can help you in the form of insurance, healthcare, and then you. But I think one interesting thing you can talk about Bonfire is the introduction of the transport system, which helps to eliminate the
I totally agree with you. That is a differentiation. What are your zones of intervention, and what is your choice for these sites? I have looked at the towns in which you're working, Akonolinga and Ayos, Tiko and Bangem. That is still relatively small compared to the demand, I imagine.
Yeah, Bonfire actually is not new. It's not just coming this year. I mean, we started in 2022, April. But the project itself, the pilot study was conducted in Bali, that is in the Northwest region, where women were actually provided with various, provided with the app. Some had, phones. They also had access to credits that could help them. And then there were also free vouchers for them to go to the hospital. And the success rate was tremendous. So the funders, because the Bonfire project is actually funded by Grand Challenge Canada, and it is a project that was actually born at the University of Ottawa. So we actually collaborated with the University of Ottawa. When I say we the Dennis and Leonora Foreter Foundation. So what actually I'm driving at is that the Bonfire project, it's kind of, we are extending from the pilot phase to kind of a transition to scale. I could say transition to scale stage 1. And the essence was that we needed to, at least, since we already did the pilot in the Northwest region, there is a need for us to try it again in another region different from the north. So we had to take the southwest, and then we needed to add a French region this time around. So that is how the southwest region was taken, and then the central region. Then when you look at specifically what made us to pick Tiko, Bangem, Ayos, Akonolinga, I think I could say those districts were actually purposely selected. The Bangem we already had, I mean, some of the workforces on ground that could aid us in the project. So we had to take Bangem. Then Tiko, then again, we're actually trying to compare where there is instability, where there is some minimal stability, and then, I mean, minimal instability, and then with the French region. So Akonolinga, we already had the structure on ground, so it was a little bit easier for us to come in those regions.
So far, how many pregnant women have benefited from
so far, as of now, we have 400 pregnant women currently using the Bonfire app, and it's quite successful.
And when the number grows, would you guys be able to handle the volume?
For sure. I mean, we are quite prepared for that.
Okay. How do you ensure that the project actually reaches its target audience, that women who are pregnant or young couples know about this?
Yeah, one interesting thing is that the Bonfire, I mean, probably the name itself is speaking volume. A lot of people have actually heard of it, some on social media, some within their community, and since we actually do a lot of community health workers, so many of them are actually doing advocacy. We have advocacy at the health facility level, advocacy at the district level, regional level, and also at the national level. Then we also do a lot of advocacy with social media, and then with our support partners as well. Then we use media houses like we are here today.
Yes, definitely. Those who are watching us for the first time and are hearing about this for the first time are certainly learning a thing or two about the app. Let's take a short break.
Yeah, thank you for your question. The coordinator of CFA, Mrs. Monyanke, launched on March 8th the Young Person of the Month Award to celebrate and reward the young person who has made an exceptional contribution to the promotion and advancement of the education of girls and women in Africa. So this award aims to honor individuals who have been demonstrated their commitment to improving access to girls' education and women as well, increasing gender equality in education and promoting the empowerment of girls and women through education. So from being an African Union CFA alumni at the first youth capacity building workshop in Addis Ababa, where I was invited as success story and challenges, then founder of the international NGO Cadet Foundation, which act for the protection to the women and the young girls victim of rape, the protection of the protection of the orphan and abandoned child. The AUCFA considers that I have shown dedication and commitment to improve the situation of girls and women in Africa and beyond, including through education. Another great news as well is like yesterday I won the 2023 DCU President Award in the student special male category for the tremendous impact that my work has on communities through the Cadet Foundation. So GCU is the second best university in the Republic of Ireland, and the President Award is one of his prestigious award. Each year, out of more than 25th, I would say, nominees, he reward only 4 winners. So yesterday I was really honored to have this other distinction. This kind of distinction or award does give you more strength to continue to do what you are doing, and you think that you're on the good track. So thank you so much, CRTV, for giving me the opportunity to express how I'm feeling about this award. First of all, about the AUCFA, who is based actually in Burkina Faso, especially in Ouagadougou, and now for the DCU President Award. For me, education is a fundamental human right, and it is crucial that girls and women have access to education to improve their lives and those around them. Education can help reduce poverty, increase increase economic opportunity, improve health outcomes, and promote gender equality. However, girls and women face many barriers to accessing education, including gender-based violence, rape, poverty, cultural norms and values, early marriage and pregnancy, and discrimination even. So, overcoming these barriers require a holistic approach that includes improving access to education, addressing social and cultural norms, and promoting policies that support gender equality. As future project, the K8 Foundation aims to improve access to education, to improve more because we already done that. We are already working on that. Further address gender-based violence, child rape, and promote policies that support gender equality in all countries where we are represented. And we are also open to other countries and all the stakeholders who think that we are doing the good work in Africa and in Europe, and also wanted to join us in this fight because it's a huge fight. It is a huge fight. I mean, so we can just be in ourselves and continue to do those kind of marvelous work because it takes a lot of energies. So the project is very it's huge project, so we really invite the other people to join us so that we can raise more awareness, give opportunity to all those girls and women into the society to be reintegrated via the education, why not, or sometimes via jobs, employment. They can be a self-employee and try to be themselves, to be independent financially, and to become who they want to be. Yeah, thank you so much for asking me this question. About my work, I aim to empower girls and women through education and entrepreneurship through K8 Foundation, which provide because I am not working alone. I am working with a team. Educational and vocational training opportunities for girls and women in rural and urban communities in Cameroon, South Africa, Senegal, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, and then in Ireland. We are also involved in advocacy work to raise awareness of the importance of girls' education and remove barriers that prevents girls from accessing education, including gender-based violence, child rape, early marriage, and many others. So at my various conferences and events, I always make a point of saying that we must invest in girls' education, and I work with local and national leaders to promote policies that support girls' education, like AU CFA. And then AU CFA is the sole institution of African Union who always aim to promote girls' education in Africa, and they always work with a lot of young people.
Thank you, Karine Mambu, a student in Dublin, Ireland, and who has been apprised for her efforts in promoting the education of girls and women on the African continent of Cameroonian nationality. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we will be sharing our supplement of the day with you. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the significance of World Purple Day. Commemorated every March 26th, the day is set aside to sensitize people on epileptic disorders through campaigns and talks in order to break stigma barriers. The following supplement further explains what epilepsy is all about, its causes, manifestations, and preventive measures. Details with Minette Simbo.
Epilepsy is a neurological disorder disorder that's characterized by seizures that can range from mild to severe. Unfortunately, many people with epilepsy are stigmatized and face discrimination due to misconceptions about the disorder.
Epilepsy is a group of neurological diseases characterized by recurrent seizures. Seizures happen as a result of a sudden surge in the brain's electrical activities. Depending on which part of the brain is affected, a seizure may manifest as loss of awareness, unusual behaviors or sensations, uncontrollable movements, or loss of consciousness.
Purple Day is an international grassroots effort dedicated to increasing awareness about epilepsy. It was founded in 2008 by Cassidy Megan, a young girl from Canada who was diagnosed with epilepsy at age 7. Cassidy wanted to create a day where people could come together to raise awareness and show support for those living with the disease. She chose the color purple because it symbolizes epilepsy. Since then, Purple Day has grown into a global movement with participants from all around the world. On March 26 every year, people wear purple and hold events to raise awareness about the disease. The goal of Purple Day is to make epilepsy visible and break down the barriers that prevent people with epilepsy from living full and productive lives. According to the World Health Organization, there are approximately 50 million people worldwide living with epilepsy. Its prevalence is higher in high-income countries, unlike developing countries. This is due to a lack of access to health care and a high prevalence risk factor for epilepsy, such as infections and head injuries. In addition to the physical impact of seizures, people with epilepsy face discrimination and social stigma. This could lead to a lower quality of life and can prevent people from seeking treatment.
There is no cure for epilepsy, but various treatments are available to control seizures. Medication successfully controls seizures for about 70% of cases. Many anti-epileptic drugs are available which target sodium channels, GABA receptors, and other components involved in neuronal transmission. Different medicines help with different types of seizures. Patients may need to try several drugs to find the most suitable. Dietary therapy. Ketogenic diet has been shown to reduce or prevent seizures in many children who do not respond to medication. Ketogenic diet is a special high-fat, low-carbohydrate diet that must be prescribed and followed strictly. With this diet, the body uses fat as the major source of energy instead of carbohydrates. The reason why this helps control epilepsy is unclear. Nerve stimulation therapy, such as vagus nerve stimulation, in which a device planted under the skin is programmed to stimulate the vagus nerve at a certain rate. The device acts as a pacemaker for the brain. The underlying mechanism is poorly understood, but it has been shown to reduce seizures significantly. Finally, a surgery may be performed to remove part of the brain that causes seizure. This is usually done when tests show that seizures are originated from a small area that does not have any vital function.
While there is currently no cure for epilepsy, there are effective treatments that can help control seizures. The most common treatment is medication, which can be effective in up to 70% of people. In addition to medication, some people with epilepsy may benefit from surgery, dietary therapy, or neurostimulation. However, access to epilepsy treatment and care is a challenge for many around the world. In low and middle income countries, access to medication and specialized care can be limited.
Who told you people that when somebody is having a seizure, that the best thing to do is to look for spoon? Find spoon and put it inside the mouth so that the teeth will not jam. Because once the teeth jam like this, the person is gone. My dear, it's a lie. It's not gunners for life. They lie to you. What do you do when somebody around you is having a seizure? The first thing is that you that is around that person should be calm. Because only calm people that can think. Number 2, if the person falls to the floor, clear everything around them that can hurt them, exposed wires, sharp objects, stones, remove it. Number 3, roll the person to one side so that what? Any fluid that is coming out of that foam that people say can infect other people, which is a lie, can come out properly and not go back and enter their lungs. Number 5, if there's a soft object around you, it might even be somebody's shirt, somebody's bag, just make sure it's soft. Fold it, put it under the person's head so that the person will not be hitting their head on the floor. Remove any tight object that is around their neck, belts, so that they can't injure themselves. And then time the seizure. Make sure you time the seizure. Most seizures don't last more than 5 minutes. If it lasts more than 5 minutes, please call the emergency number that is around your area or carry that person and go to the nearest hospital. It is important.
Many people with epilepsy may not seek treatment due to social stigma or the lack of awareness about the disorder. The International League Against Epilepsy is a global organization that promotes research, education, and awareness about epilepsy. The structure works with healthcare professionals, policymakers, and patient advocacy groups to improve access to epilepsy treatment and care. One of the most important ways to combat epilepsy is through awareness and education. By raising awareness about the disorder, we can help reduce the stigma and encourage people to seek treatment.
That was Twilight this Thursday, March 30th, 2023. We talked about the demise of the mayor of Garwa. We talked about efforts to combat maternal mortality. We talked about the promotion of the education of girls and women on the African continent. And as you heard there, we talked about the epilepsy in our supplement of the day. Thanks for your kind attention. Our primetime newscast comes up in a couple of minutes. As for me, bye-bye.